Hello and welcome to Friday Live. I am Strata lawyer Amanda Farmer. We're going out live to the Your Strata Property Facebook page. We're also heading out to YouTube. We're heading out to LinkedIn, wherever you are on your Friday afternoon in Strata. How is everybody doing? I am so pleased to be here, to be a little more relaxed than I have been at any point in the last month. It has been a massive month for me. I am sure many of you have been busy in Strata as well. We've missed a couple of weeks of Friday Live. If you're new to our world, I'm usually here every Friday afternoon around about this time talking Strata, but the last 2 weeks, I've been otherwise engaged. The last time I was here chatting to you, I was in Los Angeles. I was on my way to the College of Community Association Lawyers annual seminar. That is the US equivalent of We Strata Lawyers. They are community association lawyers, and I was lucky enough to be representing the Aussies, our Australian strata lawyers over there last month. I was going to say earlier this month, but it is now March. Happy 1st of March to everybody. I was there a few weeks ago. That's the last time you saw my talking head here live on a Friday. And then I got wrapped up in the whirlwind that was that conference. And last Friday, I had come home from the US, actually got home Thursday, the day before my own conference that was hosted for New South Wales strata managers. We've been talking about it for a while. Our Your Strata Property One Day CPD event for our strata managers hosted right here in my hometown of Mudgee, New South Wales. That all happened last Friday. Many of you have seen some of the wrap up from that here on the Facebook page, over on Instagram as well. We've got some great pics. We've got some reels, some videos, getting insights there. There's a lot of chat happening over on LinkedIn. It was a fabulous, fabulous event that, as I said on the podcast this week, exceeded even my very high expectations. So definitely worth all of the planning. About 8 months, I think, of planning went into that day. And I'm so pleased that many of you were there joining us, and also for all of your support that you have given me and all of the attendees here on the Facebook page. Many of you coming on in live now. I always love to have you with me here on a Friday afternoon. Sean McNamara is here saying hello and welcome home. Thank you very much, Sean. It's good to be back home and good to have you here with us this afternoon. Megan saying hello, Busy Bee. Hello to you, Megan Chatterton, fellow Busy Bee, who is always up to lots in our strata space. Good afternoon to you, Michelle Smith. And Anna is here saying, hi, how was America? It was awesome. Really, really enjoyed it. I was lucky enough to be traveling with my husband, Scott, who some of you got to meet last Friday in Mudgee. We spent a few nights in Los Angeles as we recovered from that very long flight over from Sydney. And then we went off to Vegas, and we were 6 nights in Vegas. Yeah, we caught a couple of shows, which was great. We did a little bit of shopping. First time in Vegas. So as I've been saying to some friends and family, I spent the week walking around with my mouth open. Wow. What an amazing city. What an amazing place. Really lucky to be able to experience that. And the conference itself, I've posted a little bit about the conference here on the page, some of the takeaways, some of the learnings, some of the fab people that I met over there. And some of them I know have started to tune in. Maybe not right at this time, but I've certainly met some friends and some colleagues who have been watching these videos on YouTube and tuning in to the podcast, and are pretty impressed with what we're doing over here in Australia, bringing this education to owners and to managers. And as far as I could find out, there's nothing quite like it on the other side of the world. So that's pretty cool too. Trailblazers here in Australia. So pleased to have you part of it, all part of our Your Strata Property community here. Shana saying, hi, Amanda, what a fabulous month you've had. It has been fabulous. Thank you, Shana. It has also been rather exhausting. And this week I really cleared the decks, didn't do any client meetings this week, was very strict about no new clients coming in this week, in fairness to the team, in fairness to anybody who's needing my attention and had been waiting for my attention. So lots of catching up that was happening this week, and I'm feeling better rested, more well rested than I was this time last Friday. Next week, I'm continuing actually on the conference circuit. It is our Australian College of Strata Lawyers annual conference happening at the Four Seasons in Sydney. I'll be speaking at that conference next Wednesday on the first day. Lots of strata lawyers coming together from across the country for that annual conference, which is set to be a really good one too. So, no rest for us in Strata land, but it's great to be here with you this afternoon. We're going to be talking about a few things. I'm going to make sure that you've caught this week's podcast episode. I'm going to take you over to have a look at, unusually for us here on Friday Live, a Queensland decision. Recent Queensland decision brought to my attention by none other than Megan Chatterton, who is here. I hope you can stick around, Megan, and hear my thoughts on that interesting decision. I am also going to let you know about an event that's happening in a couple of weeks' time. It's not for everyone, and I'm on really strict instructions to make this clear that this event that I will tell you about is happening in a couple of weeks' time. It is a live event in Sydney. I am speaking at the event. It is about strata. It is hosted by a certain Sydney local council, and I'm on strict instructions to make sure I tell you it is only for the residents of that local council area. Okay, so it's a limited space only venue and spots only for the residents of that local council area. I will tell you what it is, and I'll give you the link to check it out. Free event for you to attend. And if you're living in that local council area, I'd love to see you in person. Henry saying, "Hi, Amanda. Glad you enjoyed yourself. At least you missed the league players' visit, much to my husband's disappointment." Yes, Henry, that we couldn't coordinate our Vegas stay with the big rugby league game that was happening over in Vegas. We also missed by a day, thank goodness, the Super Bowl. So we were in LA when the Super Bowl was on a Sunday, and then on Monday we went to Vegas, and the Super Bowl had been held in Vegas. So it had been nuts there for a few days, but everybody was exiting as we were arriving, which from my point of view was good timing. Richard is saying, hello, good to see you, Richard. Michelle is asking a question, perhaps if time permits. Now, I thought about this, Michelle, because I've missed a couple of weeks. We were scheduled for an Ask Amanda Now last week, but that didn't happen because I was hosting our Mudgee event. I thought, maybe if there's time, maybe we'll put the call out. If you're here, you might be lucky enough to have a question or two answered. So I haven't read that yet, Michelle. If there are others out there who are tuning in, lots of you are here live, pop it in. Pop a question in that comment section there, Facebook, LinkedIn. I think I can see the YouTube comments as well. Strata question doesn't have to relate to what we're talking about today. If time permits, as Michelle says, I will scroll back around and see if there are any questions that I can answer there. As my gift to you, my thank you for hanging in there while I've been away for a couple of weeks. We'll see how we go. All right. First up, this week's podcast episode. That one has gone out to inboxes on Thursday. If you don't get the podcast email to your inbox each Thursday, generally morning, it'll come through. If you're not getting that, you want to sign up to our mailing list, you can do that over at the website, yourstrataproperty.com.au. On that page, there is a form you can opt in to get our regular updates, helpful strata information, including the weekly podcast. If you think you're supposed to be getting the podcast and you're not, there's been a lot of changes around emails. Email deliverability has been significantly affected the last few years, definitely, but particularly this year, there's some new rules around. As far as we're aware, we're compliant with all of those new rules and always making sure that we're doing everything we can not to trigger your spam filters, but sometimes that does happen. And particularly in the last couple of weeks, I've done some Googling about this and it seems to be a known issue. Sending emails to Big Pond addresses, and we've discovered recently sending emails to IINet addresses. If there's a link in the email that I'm sending, which always there's a link to the podcast, we're finding that those emails are not getting through. They're going to spam. We've got some members, even some clients of my legal practice saying, Amanda, those emails are not coming through. So if you think you're on our mailing list and you're not getting our emails, please have a look in that spam folder, in that junk folder. There is a way to mark the domain at Your Strata Property. That's our domain that we send from. Mark it as not spam, whitelist it, let your email program know that, yes, please, we do want to be getting emails from Amanda at Your Strata Property in particular. Then we make sure that we are hitting your inbox. Any issues with that? Rochelle and Mina on my team, they're more across this stuff than I am. And if you let them know what email software you're using, whether it's Gmail or Outlook or Hotmail, whatever it is you're using, they'll be able to give you some steps to follow to make sure that our emails are hitting your inboxes. Hey, Chris, I see you coming in there. Anna's saying, so far my emails from you have not gone to spam. Excellent. That's good to know. Thank you, Anna. I think Daryl might be answering Michelle's question. Sean is saying there are ever tightening restrictions by the big email providers, which is hitting this type of email distribution. Yeah, I know you're great on the tech stuff too, Sean. Yeah, it doesn't seem to matter that, we tick all the boxes and do all of the things that we're told to do to be able to make sure that we are compliant with all new rules. There's still emails that just won't go through. I sent an email this afternoon letting you know a little bit about what we're discussing here today. And I had to be careful with the words that I was using. There was a particular word I wanted to use, which you'll see come up when I share the Queensland case I'm going to talk about, a particular word that I wanted to use. And as I was drafting that email, my email management system said, can't use that word. If you use that word, we're going to send that email to people's spam folders. So very clever. The software is getting, and the more creative we have to be about our language in our emails. I'm pretty sure, Sean, all the DNS stuff is up to date. Thank you. Thank you very much. If you find anything from your end that I need to be aware of, let me know. But this big pond issue seems to be one that has been around for a little while. Okay. Podcast episode. Got distracted there talking about email deliverability. Podcast episode. I did something a little bit cheeky, perhaps. I know some of you have already written to me saying, we wanted more. I took about 20 minutes of the audio from my session, one of my sessions, delivered at our event last Friday. CPD, compulsory CPD topic, all about privacy. And asking this question, how private is your personal information when it is on your owner's corporation's books and records? Do you really have the protections that you might think you have? Do the Australian privacy principles actually apply to the records, to the documents, to the information that our strata managers are holding? So I was able to record just part of that for distribution out onto our podcast. Have a listen to that one. I have been contacted by a couple of strata managers, some strata managers from interstate messaging me today saying, Amanda, how do we get more access to this teaching? How do we get the whole session? Can't come to an event that you're hosting. How do we get access to this? The full session of that privacy conversation has actually been produced down into a webinar that is about to go, I think. Those who are members, I don't want to get you too excited. It's about to go into our pro member CPD library, which our highest level pro members have access to. So you will get the slides and all of my audio from that session in our pro member CPD library, just for that privacy session. So where I can do that, I try to do that, but it's just not possible with all of the content, all of the sessions that we offer on a day like we had last Friday. So that's this week's podcast episode. Head over and have a listen to that. We've got a link here for you. The other thing that happened in the intro to this week's podcast episode is that I'll let you know the date for our 2025 CPD event. Yes, we are very organized here at Your Strata Property headquarters. I had an inkling, I had a feeling that those who were attending last Friday would be telling me, Amanda, I want to come back. I want to book in the team. I want to make sure that we do something like this every year for our CPD points. So I made sure that I had 2025 locked into the calendar, ready to go. And I have told everybody the date for that, announced it on the podcast this week. It is Friday, the 28th of March, 2025. That will be the next time I am welcoming New South Wales Strata managers here in Mudgee. Venue will be Mudgee again, 2025, for a day's education, CPD education. Pop it in the diary. So many of you have told me that you want to be at the 2025 event, couldn't make it this year, didn't get a spot this year, want to bring more team members next year, 28 March 2025. Depending on how organised we are within the next week, I am hopeful that I will be able to open up ticket sales for that one next week. So keep an eye on those inboxes. Keep an eye here on the Facebook page or wherever you are, LinkedIn, and you will be the first to find out about access to tickets for Mudgee 2025. All right, if you're coming in and you haven't said hello, I would love to hear from you. I'm pretty sure Michelle and Daryl are having a back and forth about Michelle's question. Great, go for it. I'll have a revisit of that one at some point. Thank you, Daryl. Good to see you. Daryl saying, our team paid for 2025 today. Keen as mustard. Hope we see some of the people we missed this year. Daryl's let a bit of a cat out of the bag there. Our 2024 attendees, everyone who was present last Friday, has been given the option already to sign up for 2025. So that was a special opportunity this week only for our 2024 attendees. Your opportunity. If you weren't with us last Friday, it's okay. You're still going to get your opportunity to join us. You'll hear about that next week. All right. I have a case to share with you with thanks, as I said earlier, to Megan Chatterton. Hope you're still here, Megan, because Megan dropped this into my inbox. She said, Amanda, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. What I am going to do is share my screen with you. There's a link to this one. Also, we've uploaded this version of the decision to our website, and there is a link that Rochelle has for you that she'll pop into the comments. It's only 4 pages long, short decision in our Strata circles. It comes from the Queensland Body Corporate and Community Management Commissioner, Office of the Commissioner. I think it's called Adjudicator's Orders. So I think we call this person who decided this case an adjudicator. Yes, I can see that listed here. The case name is McWhirter's Apartments 2024. I think a decision came down, yes, early February, 2nd of February. And I've highlighted some relevant sections for you, so I won't drag you through all of it. But it relates to payment of an insurance premium. And you'll see here, ultimately, the order, we start with the end in mind when we read these cases. Ultimately, the order was that the body corporate was authorised under these sections of the Queensland legislation to spend up to $1.2 million. That's what that number is, $1.2 million through premium financing to accept the insurance renewal offer provided by AB Phillips on behalf of Lloyd's of London. So this community has been authorised by order of the Queensland Body Corporate Commissioner's Office to fund a $1.2 million insurance premium. And that's the number that I was trying to put in my email to you today, and my spam filters said, can't say $1 million. Spam filters will pick that one up. So I described it as an eye-watering sum. And as you'll find out, this is a tripling of the insurance premium for this particular community. And we're going to find out why. And some of you may relate. So McWhirter's Apartments is a 114-lot community title scheme, and this was an application concerning insurance for the building for full replacement value. And that's the requirement, as it is in New South Wales, under the relevant legislation, that a building be insured for its full replacement value. The body corporate made an application seeking to authorise the committee to accept a renewal offer that was provided by AB Phillips on behalf of Lloyd's of London. So not an Australian insurer. And you'll find out why this was not an Australian insurer. McWhirter's Apartments, it's a scheme located in Fortitude Valley, 114 lots, mixture of tenancies, owner-occupiers, separate body corporates containing several commercial tenancies. Interesting building. I might do some Googling, see if we can get an image of this building. Constructed in 4 stages between 1899 and 1929, it is heritage listed, and it was converted from a mall to the current split residential purpose in 2000. The building had been insured with CHU for $120 million. So that was the replacement value. But in December 2023, CHU advised that they would not offer a renewal when it was due on the 16th of December. CHU offered an extension until the end of Jan, and it was subsequently extended a further 7 days. Now, bearing in mind, this decision came down on the 2nd of February. The building's insurance broker sought quotes from other Australian insurers, but due to the building's claims history and known defects identified in a building inspection report obtained from Diagnostic, the Australian insurance market was unwilling to accept the risk of offering insurance terms to McWhirter's Apartments. So the Australian insurers said, nah, we don't want to touch this building. There are known defects. The body corporate has been informed about these defects through a report. The committee said that they were looking at the report. They were in the process of sourcing quotes to address the defects, but this will not be finalised for some time. Familiar situation to many of us. So the broker went out to London insurance markets. Now, interestingly, this is not the first time I've heard about this. I think Rena, perhaps, Rena Van Alst, Strata manager, chatting to me on the podcast, I think she may have had 1 or 2 examples where insurance was sought overseas and the London insurance market was mentioned. I'd be keen to hear from Strata managers tuning in whether you've had to go to this extent previously. So the broker went out to the London insurance market. AB Phillips, on behalf of Lloyd's of London, were able to source a policy for the replacement value of the scheme. The estimated base premium would be, in Australian dollars, $1 million for a year, plus fees, taxes, taking it to $1.2 million for the premium. It's not the first time that I have heard about $1 million insurance premiums. It is the first time that I have heard about tribunal, an adjudicator, ordering that this policy be entered into, that this expenditure be made by a body corporate or an owner's corporation. So I think when Megan sent me this case, she said, Amanda, interested in your thoughts on this. You can let me know, Megan, if you're here and you want to post any comments, what you were thinking. My thoughts might be, but I haven't seen a decision like this in New South Wales, where, as we'll go on to see, a body corporate, an owner's corporation, has been ordered to, authorised essentially. I say ordered, but the order was authorising the body corporate committee to enter into this policy and to secure funding to be able to pay for this premium. So the adjudicator goes on to analyse what the law says and what the requirements are on this body corporate. An adjudicator can make an order that is just and equitable in the circumstances to resolve a dispute. We have this same power in our New South Wales Tribunal. Our New South Wales Tribunal has the power to resolve complaints or disputes about the operation, administration, or management of a strata scheme. The first thing that I think when I read that line here as a lawyer, and I think about our similar legislation in New South Wales, is whether or not this is actually a dispute. If there's a dispute, who is it between? We're told that there is a deadline here on when CHU is going to stop insuring this building. We have an offer from a London insurer to say, well, here you can enter into our policy. The premium's $1.2 million. We're going to have to somehow borrow some money to fund that. I'm not hearing that there's any dispute here. What I am hearing is that the committee may not have the power or the authority to spend this money to sign this insurance contract, but I'm not sure that there's a dispute. So that's the first little question mark that pops up for me. Also, in Queensland, an order may require a person to act or prohibit a person from acting in a way stated in that order. Our New South Wales Tribunal has that power as well, that the tribunal can order somebody to do something or to refrain from doing something. And in my mind, I think that's probably more the category where this particular power of the adjudicator or of the tribunal actually sits. They have the power to make these orders because they have the power to direct somebody, to require somebody to act in a way that is stated in the order. So the adjudicator was satisfied that the matter falls within the legislative dispute resolution provisions and goes on to say this is obviously a huge increase. The previous premium paid by the body corporate for 1 year renewal was $280,000. The committee notes that the proposed premium exceeds the body corporate's spending limit of $22,000, exceeds that spending limit by quite a bit. It is more than triple the previous premium. Obviously, a financial decision of such magnitude should ordinarily be made by the body corporate in general meeting. Yes, in New South Wales, yes, if there needed to be a levy raised to be able to fund a premium like this, you would need a general meeting resolution. Interestingly, you don't otherwise need a general meeting resolution for the committee to place insurance with a particular insurer. You do need to confirm the insurance policy at every annual general meeting, but otherwise you don't need a specific resolution for an insurance policy to be entered into. You also don't need a general meeting resolution to approve the borrowing of funds. You don't need that under the Strata schemes legislation, but as I understand it from our Strata managers, the lenders always require a general meeting resolution in order to have their loan documents signed off. So for a New South Wales owners corporation to be spending this amount of money on an insurance premium, it too would probably require approval at a general meeting. The current insurance policy, says the adjudicator, is due to expire on the 7th of February, and the body corporate indicates that it was unable to obtain confirmation that Lloyd's would accept the risk until late January. So we're all working to very tight deadline here. The body corporate is unable to call an extraordinary general meeting within the time frame of the insurance policy lapsing to seek approval. And we realise that that's why the body corporate has gone to the adjudicator to get an order authorising it to place this insurance policy and to borrow this money. The adjudicator goes on to look at relevant sections of the Queensland legislation. Similar to New South Wales, a body corporate must insure for full replacement value common property, body corporate assets. I'll scroll down past a bit of this. If the body corporate cannot comply with some of these obligations, the commissioner, on application in writing by the body corporate, may authorise the body corporate to put in place an alternative insurance in a form approved by the commissioner if the commissioner is satisfied that the insurance approved gives cover that is as close as possible to the cover that's required above. We have some similar, not the same, but similar legislation in New South Wales. Just noticing Megan, who shared this case with me, is here, and Megan's just posted, I fear this will be the new norm. I assume this is a legacy of previous owners committed to minimising levies and failing to repair and maintain, is now on the next generation, making it harder yet to enter the housing market. Yeah, really interesting take on that, Megan. Yeah, we hear that this insurance premium is through the roof, can't get insurance because the building, the body corporate, has not met its repair and maintenance obligations. Heritage building, it's going to be expensive. It's going to take time. You'll only have certain contractors who are able to do the work. It has all culminated in this situation. And I don't know if there are legal fees involved in this application as well, more expense, where you're having to go to the commissioner and seek an order to place an insurance policy with a $1.2 million premium. The adjudicator says that the obligation of the body corporate to insure the building for full replacement value is clear. The body corporate committee has been able to secure insurance coverage. I don't think this is a circumstance where the body corporate is unable to comply. There is a provision in the Queensland legislation, as there is in New South Wales, that there can be an order exempting a building from the requirement to have insurance, but that's only in some very specific circumstances. So otherwise, the obligation is that you must, and if you can get it, doesn't matter how much the premium is going to be, you need to be getting that insurance coverage. The accommodation module in Queensland refers to spending by committees. The committee may only give effect to a proposal involving spending above the relevant limit if, among other things, an adjudicator is satisfied that the spending is required to meet an emergency and authorises it under an order made under the dispute resolution provisions. And I believe we find out that that is ultimately what happens here. We don't have this. We don't have this particular, I don't know if the accommodation module is legislation, is it regulations, what kind of instrument it actually is, but we don't have this ability where a committee might be restricted in its spending to then expressly go off to the tribunal and get an order that allows it to spend over that limit. In my view, there would have to be some kind of a dispute, some kind of a complaint, some kind of an argument about this in order for the tribunal to intervene and to resolve it. Adjudicator says, I'm satisfied that the applicant has established that emergency circumstances exist in this case. It is appropriate for me to authorise emergency spending so that the body corporate can obtain insurance for the next 12 months. And that is indeed what the order ends up being. Spend $1.2 million on your insurance premium so that you can have insurance for the next 12 months through Lloyd's of London, because no other Australian insurer will intervene. Interesting decision. I know we have lots of brains who tune in here, lawyers included. We can take a very legalistic view of this particular decision and think about, how would that play out in New South Wales? I think probably somewhere embedded there in our Strata Schemes Management Act, our tribunal has a similar power to direct, to require, to order the taking of specific action, even in the absence of there being any dispute between owners and an owners corporation. Maybe a similar order would be made in New South Wales. I think there's much clearer powers in Queensland for that to happen. But taking Megan's point, it never should have come to this. And are we going to be seeing more of this right around the country? I think that we often, I put me in that, we definitely in that we category. We often say in New South Wales, it's so hard now to get repair work done because we have these very onerous obligations that have come through with the Design and Building Practitioners Act, with the focus on quality that has necessarily come through via our New South Wales Building Commissioner, where we're doing rectification work, repair work in older buildings. We have to comply with these very high standards. It's making it harder. It's making it more expensive to do this work. And so we have buildings in New South Wales that are facing these very high insurance premiums if they can get insurance at all. This case comes from Queensland. As far as I'm aware, tell me if I'm wrong, but as far as I'm aware, Queensland doesn't have that same legislation along the lines of our Design and Building Practitioners Act, doesn't yet have those very high standards of remedial work, and still there are buildings that are struggling to meet their repair and maintenance obligations. Thank you very much, Megan Chatterton, for sharing that case here with us. I am going to bravely go back through these comments and see if I can weed out the conversation that I think is happening on the side between Daryl, and Sean might have weighed in, and Michelle about addresses by the looks of it, and see that Megan has said that she was so here for it. Let me know if you want to raise anything else about that case, Megan. Henry saying it's a shame you missed Taylor Swift's future song subject play. Did miss Taylor Swift last weekend, otherwise engaged in our Mudgee conference. Kristen is here. Hey, Kristen, saying, thanks for sharing part of the CPD session on privacy. Looking forward to hearing when the lot owners training session will happen. Yeah, so if you have listened to the podcast episode, you would have heard in my intro, I was planting a bit of a seed there about a possible future live event specifically for our Strata owners. When I started talking about our Mudgee event for our Strata managers, I heard from a lot of you. Saying, Amanda, great. Love that you're doing this education for Strata managers. Completely understand how our more highly educated, more skilled, more qualified Strata managers make our lives as owners easier. But you too, I know, want to be able to engage, to interact, to have your questions answered in a live in-person. We do a lot of live here, live in-person setting, and to meet each other. Such a great community that we've built here. We see names, regulars turning up here on Friday Live. I'd love to meet you in person if I haven't yet, and have you meet each other as well. So it's there. It's there. Slot in to the busy schedule. You'll be the first to know if and when it is happening. So thank you for that support. And the more of you who ask, I like to be responsive. You tell me you want it. You tell me you want it. You tell me you're going to be there. You're going to buy a ticket. You're going to turn up. Then that's more incentive for me to put it all together. Keep scrolling through to see if there's any comments here on our insurance topic. Anna, discussing insurance premiums. Thank you, Anna, for prefacing your comment that way. If a committee member has queries regarding the proposed premium, can other members vote on the renewal quote submitted? From there, due to still outstanding queries, I requested a hold on cover while we sorted it out. I was told I couldn't do this. I know this is incorrect. However, due to the rest of the committee, we were forced to go with a premium that was well above what it should have been. So you've said due to the rest of the committee. So my view is that the renewal terms and who the insurer is should absolutely be a decision for the committee. Some strata managers may have delegated authority under their agency agreement to be able to take that step, to be able to place insurance. And I think I've seen some clauses that say, in the absence of any other instructions or where we can't get instructions, we are just going to place the insurance with who we think is the best option for the owners corporation, because it is a little bit scary for a building to be uninsured. Not only is it a breach of the act, but you don't want that fire to break out. You don't want that flood or that storm event and to not be covered even just for a few days. So I know that strata managers do take those renewals very seriously. But otherwise, if you can get those quotes sometime, at least a month, I would think, before the policy is due to expire, so that the committee can meet and the committee can vote on which insurer it wants to go for, which quote they want to accept. If you're lucky enough, by the way, to have more than one quote, to have a quote that's palatable and there is something to vote on, then yes, your committee should be making that decision. I think what I'm reading in your comment there, Anna, is that perhaps the majority of the committee did make that decision. It wasn't one that you agreed with. Unfortunately, in strata, sometimes that's just the way that it goes. That's the democratic process. So it's sounding like it's a good thing that your committee was able to weigh in on the decision. But I do know in some communities where strata manager just places that policy, insurance is renewed, and then it's discussed, confirmed at the AGM as it needs to be. Sean saying, if it wasn't needing to be paid urgently due to an impending expiry, I'd personally have allowed the queries, Anna. Yeah, so I think Sean is, or I'm supporting what Sean has just said there. Thank you. Scrolling down, Anna's saying it was the strata manager that said we do not hold the cover and that the majority of votes were received. So you might be querying whether, in fact, that was the case, Anna, that there were the majority of votes received. Oh, Anna's saying, what is DBPA? My apologies. The Design and Building Practitioners Act. So legislation in New South Wales that places a stricter duty on those who are carrying out building work and on behalf of owners corporations and in strata buildings. Kristen is saying, not really wanting to add another topic today, but surely the powers that be are aware that OCs are often not paying attention to the need to comply with requirements under the DBPA. What to do when your OC ignores these requirements? Yeah, that's a little bit scary. I can't say that I personally have seen that, Kristen, because I suppose I'll only see it when things go wrong. Strata managers, I'm sure, are hearing from committees that are saying, oh, don't worry about it. It's okay. We don't need to comply. We don't need to have a regulated design. We don't need to engage a registered practitioner. I think if that's happening, it's happening in a circumstance where the wrong contractors are being communicated with. Because I know contractors that my building personally is working with, that I know other managers are working with, they just won't do it other than in accordance with those strict requirements, because their licenses, their qualifications are on the line. So if there's contractors out there willing to do work that is not exempt from those DBPA obligations, that's a bit of a worry. Nobody wants to be in the newspaper with David Chandler. Nobody wants to be featured in his LinkedIn videos. So I think you're if you're a contractor acting contrary to that legislation, that's some pretty risky activity. I'm going to come right back around to this conversation that's happening about records. I'm interested in that, but I don't want to get sucked in to that right now. Anna said we only got the quotes 2 weeks before renewal. Yeah, that's not great, not ideal. Anna, it is enough time, should be enough time to convene a committee meeting to have a chat about it. Henry saying, looking at the Brisbane flood maps, this address was on the edge of the 0.05% annual chance of flooding. This may have had an impact on the address. The apartment block sits on top of commercial shops, so maybe their activities would affect the premiums. Yeah, I would say so. Being heritage listed, I've worked with owners in heritage listed properties before, trying to get repair and maintenance work done. And there's just a whole nother level of hoops to jump through when you're dealing with a heritage listing as well. Makes everything more expensive, and I'm sure makes that insurance premium more expensive. And overlaying all of that, of course, you've gone out to a completely different market, overseas market. You're dealing with exchange rates. That's 1.2 million in Australian dollars. You've got all the taxes and everything included in that. So it just adds up to that huge figure. Sean O'Day is here saying happy Friday. Happy Friday to you, Sean. I hope that you are doing well. Anna saying the queries, this was your query about the policy, Anna. The query was that the broker did not break down the premium, including the broker fee, and the broker charged a $2,000 fee. Oh, okay. That is another topic for discussion. Lots of discussion happening in the Strata space about these fees, about insurance commissions, about disclosure. There's a new report released recently. There's been some articles about that. I won't say any more about that right now. Maybe we'll be able to get somebody on the podcast to talk to us about that. But yeah, as always, many points of view and discussions, I'm going to say, happening in our space about insurance. Chris is saying, in my village, many of the owners' corporation don't care. Yeah, I hear you there, Chris. Excellent. Okay. Now is the time for me to let you know, as I promised I would do, about a particular event. It's not Mudgee 2025. It's not YSP Live for owners. It is a particular event that is happening in a couple of weeks' time, and it's only for particular residents of a particular area. Okay, I'm making this really clear because the organizers have said, Amanda, we're happy for you to share. We would like these residents to turn up, but we know how big your audience is. We know that you speak to owners and managers from right across Australia and a few from overseas. Hello, special friends. But this event is only for residents of a particular local council area. It is what's known as the Buildings Network Information Session. It is titled that way by the City of Canada Bay Council. It is happening on Thursday, the 14th of March, 5:30 p.m. I am pretty sure I didn't go in and double check the venue for this event. I'll just do that now, but I'm pretty sure it is being held in Rhodes. It's being held at the Connection meeting space in Rhodes. And I'm lucky enough to have been asked to be a special guest at that event. And I'm going to be talking about how to effectively run a high-performing strata committee. 5:30 p.m., Thursday, the 14th of March, in Rhodes, free event, free building network information session for residents of the City of Canada Bay. If you are not a resident of the City of Canada Bay, you're not allowed to go to this event. And I'm smiling, but strict instructions here, limited space. You won't be able to attend unless you are a resident of the City of Canada Bay. Sean's saying, isn't Canada Bay the smallest city LGA in New South Wales? I don't know if it is, Sean, but they have I don't know about size in terms of, its area, but they got a lot of strata buildings and communities. I've said roads there. If anybody knows roads in Sydney, you know the towers. Um, in terms of their density, as far as I'm aware, quite a high density area. I did look this up and wrote it down to list it for you. Abbotsford, Breakfast Point, Cabarita, Canada Bay, Chiswick, Concord, Concord West, Drummoyne, Five Dock, Liberty Grove, Mortlake, North Strathfield, Rhodes, Rod Point, Russell Lee, part of Strathfield, and Warimba. Those are the areas that on my quick search are covered by City of Canada Bay Council, and residents of those areas are welcome to register for this building network information session where I will be speaking about how to run a high functioning, effective strata committee. I'm going to share 3 easy steps that strata committees can take to ensure greater transparency and why that matters in today's modern communities. I'm going to fill you in on the most powerful position on a strata committee and why it's not the position that everyone thinks of. And I'll talk about how the smart handling of tricky strata situations reduces your risk of legal liability, avoids conflict, and saves money. And as I like to do when I am with you in person, and sometimes when I'm with you online, we're going to have plenty of time for Q&A as well. Not just me at that event, not just me speaking for 2 hours. It runs from 5:30 to 7:30. I could speak about Strata for 2 hours, that's for sure. But also at the event will be Gareth Huxham from Energy Smart Strata, who's going to present information on EV charging stations in apartment buildings and how you can get a neighbours rating for your building. So you can register through Eventbrite. You must be a resident of City of Canada Bay Council. If you are a strata manager and you are managing buildings that are in this local council area, please do share this with them. Hopefully you're connected or the building is connected with City of Canada Bay and is already aware of these building network information sessions that Canada Bay does. I attended one, I think it was maybe about July last year. I attended one of these, which was in the middle of the day, sharing education about bylaws. They're really well attended sessions and very well put together by City of Canada Bay. So we have a link. If it hasn't come into the chat yet, Rochelle is going to pop it in there for you, a link to register for that free event for residents of the City of Canada Bay. I might just get you, if you can, Rochelle, to amend that post that has the link to make clear that it is only for residents of City of Canada Bay. I keep saying it, but I know that the council was very concerned to absolutely get this message out to those residents who are in that local council area, but being aware of how many of you tune in and how keen you are for more information, I'm on strict instructions to make that really clear. So those of you who are in that council area, I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks' time, another week, another conference, another presentation, another strata presentation for me. Kristen says, great council for taking the initiative. Yeah. And great to share these initiatives on this platform too, Kristen. And it's why I do, so that others in other council areas tell your council if you want these kinds of events. If you want a session where I come and speak to strata residents, let the council know. I've got quite a few good relationships with Sydney local councils, and some of you would have met me, would have come across my education from attending these council events. It's a really good way to bring residents together for councils to find out who their strata residents are. Simply due to other commitments the last 12 months, I haven't done a lot of council events, but if I have a council contacting me saying, Amanda, we've heard from residents and they want to hear from you, maybe you too want this session about how to run an effective, high functioning strata committee, let your council know and we'll see if they can put something together and I can come and have a chat. I think we're talking about insurance in some of these comments. Roads, not roads. So Sean, correct. RHODES, roads in Sydney. Don't get that one wrong in the GPS. Just checking through any other comments there that might be on point. Thank you, Rochelle, for making that clear about that event. Okay, I think we're good. That is our Friday Live for today. I've missed you. It's really good to be back. Next Friday, interesting things happening next Friday. It will be the final day of our conference for the Australian College of Strata Lawyers. We're all at the Four Seasons from Wednesday, the Four Seasons Hotel in Sydney, having our 3-day conference. Next Friday is International Women's Day. And Strata Community Association New South Wales is having an afternoon tea on Friday, also at the Four Seasons. So there's going to be a whole bunch of Strata people, lawyers, male and female Strata managers, industry supporters at the Four Seasons in Sydney. So I'll be there if you're a Strata manager. We still have spots available for our conference, our Strata Lawyers conference. Check out my LinkedIn and you'll see the program for that. If you're a Strata manager who's coming in to attend the SCA afternoon tea for International Women's Day, I don't know, I might get in trouble for this, but you might be able to spend the day at our Strata Lawyers conference on Friday as well. We'll check with our GM if we're selling tickets for one day of the conference. We'd love to see you every day, but I know how busy you are. If we've got some spots left for you to come along for the Friday and then pop over to the afternoon tea for International Women's Day, that would be fun. That would be fun. So if you want to take Friday off and enjoy some awesome Strata law education and then celebrate International Women's Day at the Four Seasons Hotel in Sydney, let me know. I'll see if I can hook you up with a day's tickets. Sean says I'd attend if I could. Promises, Sean. I haven't seen you in a while. You'll be at an event sometime soon, hopefully. And thank you. For those of you who are happy to have me back, watch out for the groupies at the door asking for autographs. Yeah, I'm not sure that we're quite there yet, Sean, but thank you. Yes, that's where I was going with that, Anna. Thank you for reminding me. Next Friday afternoon, it hasn't been unheard of for me to pop in when I'm at a lawyers conference and have a little cameo of your favorite, most well-known Strata lawyers in the background. So I'm not sure what stage the conference will be at, about 4 or 5 o'clock. It might be a later one. It might be a 5 o'clock or a 5:30 next Friday. I always try to give you as much notice as I can, but I would love to pop in, if not for a long session, just for a question and answer or 2 or 3. We'll see how we go. Good to see you all. Have a fabulous weekend in Strata. Catch you next time.